Hello. As many of you may know, my name is Jennifer Campbell. I will be sharing information with you today on how we can work together as a team to tackle lack of guardianship services here in Athens County. As many of you may know, APSE, the agency that currently provides our guardianship services, has a waiting list. This creates a huge problem for the individuals that we serve, especially when situations that arise that demands guardianship services to protect the health and safety of the individuals that we serve, to help them attest to their personal rights, and also help them express himself or herself. Unfortunately, provisions in Ohio law does not allow you as a service and support specialist to provide guardianship services to the individuals that you serve, even though you as a service and support specialist know your individuals far better than any guardianship agency and would be able to provide much better services. I recently spoke with Julia Knack. She is from the Central Ohio area on aging. She explained to me that lack of guardianship services is not only here in Athens County, but it's nationwide as well. She also reported that you all might be pleased to know that state legislators are working to possibly change the provisions in the law to allow you as a service and support specialist to provide guardianship services to the individuals that you serve. This would be a great thing because it would allow more guardianship volunteers that are available for the consumers that we serve. There are many other agencies that are out there that provide guardianship services. There's lawyers and also at-fee agencies. And one of the struggles with these agencies and lawyers is that they expect a fee for the guardianship services that they provide. Unfortunately, this creates a struggle for the individuals that we serve because many of the individuals that we serve do not have the means to pay for such services. Another option for us, we could start a volunteer program here at the Athens County Board. For this program to be successful, we would have to follow a few provisions that in order for it to work. Volunteers are not free. That right there is the biggest fact. We have to understand that these volunteers need direction and guidance in order for retention. If volunteers do not have a good experience, they will not stay as a volunteer. And guardianship is a serious responsibility. It takes a special type of person to provide guardianship services. These guardians make life-altering decisions for the consumers and individuals that we serve, so it's a very important role. There are many guardians that are not set out to handle this responsibility, nor do we expect them to. We want to make sure that if we do employ such volunteers, that we put them through the proper training before they begin their volunteer services, such as ethics. Not only do we want to do it in the beginning, we want to do it through the duration, just continuing education on the area of volunteering and guardianship. All volunteers will be put through a background check, fingerprinting, to make sure that they are credible applicants for our volunteer program. We will need to also work closely with our local probate courts and the probate judge. The probate judge is the one that appoints all the guardians for the individuals. So we do want to make sure that he is very aware of our volunteer program and can assist when needed. First of all, we want to employ or get together a task force on all the areas that will be making referrals. This would be like hospitals, mental health agencies, who would likely make us referrals. We'd probably want to use ourselves, the MRDD. We want to look at anybody that serves vulnerable individuals to be part of this task force. After we've created the task force, we want to do an assessment of each of these entities to see what our needs would be from each of them, so we can get a better idea on what type of volunteers or how many volunteers that we would need to make our program successful. We also want to make sure that we're not limiting the liability of our volunteers as much as possible. To do this, we will want to employ maybe a few volunteers of different attorneys that will provide services that will help us in court. We want to also, during the task force, speak about the different types of volunteer programs that we won't do in order to limit liabilities. Some of those would be like aggressive individuals or individuals from dysfunctional families. And this will help us in the design phase. The task force should limit volunteer liability as much as possible. As you can see, to start such a program will be very time consuming. But this volunteer program is working in other counties, so it is a very viable option, and I think it's worth exploring. I also spoke with Debbie Gibson, who recently spoke to each of you concerning the types of guardianships and the laws associated with each. I have for you today, I'm going to take one and pass down, please. This is actually a pamphlet on the different types of guardianship and the actual laws, all of what Debbie went over with you. She has viewed the pamphlet. It came from the Ohio Disability Council, and everything in there, she said, is exactly what she went over with each of you. The only thing that she would change in the pamphlet is that she does not think you should wait very long in order to try to obtain guardianship. She says you should start at the age of 18 and not wait until there is a crisis. The reason she has come to this opinion is she has worked with families who are trying to obtain guardianship when there is a crisis, and she has worked with families that have tried for guardianship when there is not a crisis. And it is far easier, in her opinion, for the families, because it's less stressful when you do not have a crisis that is involved. I want to thank each of you very much for listening to the information that I had to provide to you today, and viewing the pamphlet that I've handed out and the information that I've shared with you today. I'm hopeful that we can all work together to maybe come up with a task force to help with a volunteer program that will get started here in Athens County and kick that lack of guardianship into successful guardianship. Again, thank you very much.